What's up guys, welcome back for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Duel video. Next match, Cross-Banlist Cup here, all the way on the right on the winner's side, or you know, the winner's bracket. We have another top 8 match, the last top 8 match of both Synchro being the OCG list, right, from 2008, versus Metalfoes with, of course, one Kirin, Spectre Kirin, which luckily is banned now. First tech list doesn't need an introduction, Synchro from 2008, again, it's an OCG list featuring Hidden Armory, fetching or searching out Premature Burial, and of course, Premature Burial banned now, but same for Brionek being pre-errata and not once per turn. Same for Rescue Cat pre-errata and the currently, well, at least one of the best traps in the game, of course, Royal Oppression. Second list we have Metalfoes. Metalfoes, this should be Billy Break's list from, was it YCS Bochum? Couple of years, I think it was Bochum, either Bochum or Prague. No, it was Prague, I think. Anyway, so yeah, Metalfoes featuring, you know, the boss monsters, both Cyber Dragon Infinity, the small, you know, Clifford engine because of Infinity, and of course Spectre Kirin. So which deck has the advantage? I think, well, you know, due to power creep, Metalfoes, Pendulum Mechanic should have the advantage. Spectre engine, Mexi as well in the main deck, those cards definitely have the advantage over old school decks, special summoning based decks, mainly Mexi, but Kirin is definitely a very strong card as well. So let's see a couple of example duels. The first duel here, the opponent starts off, and that's something that I haven't mentioned yet, is there will be some extra duels after, you know, the ending deck profile, since most of the time that's like filler here in the Cross-Banlist Cup videos, but I think some extra duels after the match, I think is more entertaining rather than just filler, right, to prolong the videos and prevent spoilers, right? Anyway, so going first here, Metalfoes go first. Well, what can I do, right? Both the field of Spectre Kirin and Cyber Dragon Infinity is far too strong against a lot of old school decks, well, against a lot of new decks as well, but still. An old school deck, Rescue Cat, I believe was negated first with Cyber Dragon Infinity, and Premature Burial, the cat was bounced back with Spectre Kirin, and that's basically a free way to eventually attack for a game. Game number 2, I immediately blow him away with a Crush Sangan. During that old school days, Crush Sangan, one of those best 2-card combinations. He does chain the full Metalfoes fusion. So I think going for the Royal Oppression, of course, was the better move. I do have Cold Wave in hand. I believe this deck, the OCG list, this OCG list runs 3 Cold Wave, and Cold Wave, as you know, prevents or stuns every trap or spell, right, on the field. Mainly trap, very important here. Now the opponent can't use the Royal Oppression, since, as you know, Royal Oppression does have that built-in effect that even though it's your card, your opponent does have the ability to use it as well, if, let's say, you special summon a monster. Stardust Dragon isn't that fantastic. Well, against foes it's quite okay, but with Royal Oppression it's not that fantastic. But same, it's just basically an extra beat stick, a big beat stick, and protecting oppression here in this situation, right? Premature Burial, again, as I mentioned before, the opponent is able to use the oppression if I would activate Burial, so there's again no reason to. And in game number 2 goes to me. So again, very solid, but Crush Sangan, Royal Oppression, that's just too, and Cold Wave as well, not to forget. So game number 3, the opponent again gets to start, and that's something that foes definitely want, since if I see here in my hand, I see the Cold Wave. Cold Wave is such a crucial card here in this matchup, prevents your opponent from, you know, playing the game and using the Pendulum monsters and the Pendulum scales, right? So again, that's a good start, Cyber Dragon Infinity, and having the full Metalfoes fusion set for a potential Alchemist play. And here is where the threat of Chimera Tech actually comes in play. One of the first times actually finally summoning the Fortress Dragon to my side of the field using the Infinity. I was like, no, please don't use Cyber Dragon Infinity on the Cold Wave. But he did. I mean, he definitely has to negate Cold Wave. It's so good against Pendulums, right? But again, the Pot of Desires got him an extra draw, setting up a scale and another beat stick on the field. But I draw another Rescue Cat, so I was like, some solid top decks, but he does FC the Mexi for those extra draws, basically a +1 now, and one of the, what is it called, Metalfoes counter, it just gets him an extra beat stick on the field. And the Catester is of course very solid against Metalfoes, but, well, you know, he still has a scale, he has multiple options to get on the field. Eventually goes for Lithium again. Okay, DD Crow gets rid of, I think, his only Surge left when he uses the Cell Destruction effects of the Metalfoes. Here, I believe he made a misclick or whatever. I mean, I think he Pendulum summoned? Yeah, I think so, right? Pendulum summoned Bombuku. I mean, if it just normal summoned Bombuku, Surge, Magispector Kirin, and then, you know, just Pendulum Summon everything for game, I think. Or am I missing something? But in the long run, again, it's not going to matter too much. I had 0 cards left, and the Torrential Tribute is, of course, useless against Kirin, against the Magispectors, etc. And, of course, Mithrilium's bouncing effect is more than enough to attack for games. So 2 games coming up soon here after, you know, the closing up scene, as we all know. Of course, I think a well-deserved winner. Good game, I guess. 2-1 for Metalfoes. So Metalfoes will move on to the right side of the bracket, right? And the next matchup here on the left, as you see here, should be or will be... well, Zombie Teledad, OC Zombie Teledad versus Shadows, right? Again, both, well, maybe Shadows a little bit more favorite over the old school Teledad, OCG Zombie Teledad deck. So, like always, feel free to leave your prediction or predictions for this particular matchup. But again, well-deserved win for Metalfoes. They'll move on here to the top 4. So a couple of matches left, about 10-ish, a little over 10 matches, I think, including the finals, like 11, 12, 13 matches left. So these were duel number 4 and duel number 5. Again, I think this is... much more entertaining than, you know, just filling the video as a filler, basically just to prevent spoilers, right? So let me know if this is interesting or, well, if it's not not that good, right? Just be honest. Anyway, so going first, and I was like, yeah, let's just use Cold Wave, right? Cold Wave is such a fantastic card against Metalfoes. Going for the first turn Brionek, and if he doesn't have, I think, one of the only cards that could threaten a potential or prevent him, or at least me, from going for an OTK next turn was the Eccentric Archfiend, using the Exiled Force, the popping effect, getting rid of the Brionek, and yep, he's surviving with 1900 life points, and that would have been very solid with the Brionek. I mean, due to Cold Wave, he can't set spells, he can't set traps, he can't activate the Pendulum monsters in the Pendulum scale, and against the full Pendulum deck, in most situations, that's almost CG. Then again, the Archfiend Eccentric did get rid of, yeah, the Brionek, so, I mean, if it wasn't for Archfiend Eccentric, he just probably would have been forced to set a monster, and then, as you know, Brionek would just have bounced it, and eventually I would have been able to attack for a game. But nope, that wasn't the case, and both Sangan and Ryko, yeah, are just far too passive. Premature Burial just runs into another Vanity's Emptiness, right? So, set your Ryko, and eventually he will do some extra Metalfoes shenanigans, getting those extra surges, and I believe popping the... Yeah, that's... I mean, you can just shut down your own Emptiness in Metalfoes. That's such a strong card, and Emptiness being at 1 at that time made it just so much more ridiculous, right? Especially because I believe, not really sure how many cards Billy was running here in his main deck, like 41, 42, and that one of Vanity's Emptiness, right? So last example, at least, yeah, last duel, duel number 5, again, I opt to start. This is again an okay start, and I believe no, I didn't use Cold Wave. Okay, that's all fine, right? So yeah, eventually he will just... He plays around the... What is it called? He plays around the Bottomless Chapel really well, you know, using Rescue Habits. Mithrilium just gets banished by the Bottomless Chapel, right? So, but then again, it gets so many pluses. Eventually going for another Mithrilium again, bouncing back the Ryko. Gorse would have been okay, but no, that's sadly not the case. Again, getting an extra surge, and okay, I mean... I do a Heavy Storm, so I blow him away for 4 cards, getting immediate plus 3 well, not counting in the surges he will eventually get, right, with something like Counter and Metalfoes combination, but yeah, again, he's just able to get Kirin again on the field and using Metalfoes Fusion for Mythrilium again. Mythrilium special summoning something from the extra deck, I guess. And Mythrilium bouncing back one of my back rows at Mystical Space Typhoon will blow away the last remaining back row. Yeah, I think it was pretty clear that both of them were basically bluffs. So if there would be a Royal Oppression, he again would have chained the Mystical Space Typhoon in hand. So again, that's it. As mentioned before, Metalfoes will move on to the next, at least to the right of the bracket. And next matchup, as I mentioned before, will be Shadows versus Zombie Telenet. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.